Scrappers, so glad that you are joining us today for our It's a Zoo in Here Crop-tacular. Wow, have you shown us the love with all of the zoo kits that have been purchased and the sellouts, and wow, it was you think you make enough and then it's just like, whoa, loving all the animals that the zoo pages that we produced. I took my zoo spread in a little tiny bit of a different direction. Instead of putting exactly like zoo on it, I thought, let's be a little different and I mean, what are you when you go to the zoo? It's just like you go on an adventure, right? And your little kiddos, if you have kiddos, or if you just go yourself, like the whole day's an adventure, going around and trying to find the animals and see the animals. And so I thought, let's go on that route and let's be adventurers. So that is a page kit that we're putting together today. Let's be adventurers here. And so go ahead and open up and we will get started. We are going to work on the left side of the page today. So we will get out the pieces for the left side. You will need an orange piece of My Colors cardstock, and then you will need the printed paper, the X, the brown paper, and then you will need, let's put you put your die cuts to the side for now. Okay, so then for the left side, you can see here, we're going to need this yellow piece right here. Here it is. The yellow little check in there, and then the strips that we are going to need is the let me see, the skinnier, looks like sort of like a bamboo, sort of like, is that what you call it, the little green strip. And then we need the skinnier orange strip. So there's two orange strips right here, and you'll need the 1/2 inch. And you can set the other one aside then. And then you will need the smaller of the green strips. It is the Glimmer cardstock. You can set the other green piece aside. And then the brown strip will be for the right side, so you can set that in your little pile for the other side. And last but not least, this will be also for the right side, the brown stripe. And then we will need the brown piece of cardstock, but you can set that off to the side for now because that'll just be for your photo mats right here. Let me see, and then, okay. Where is he at? All right. Need to find all my pieces here. All right, so everything else you can set aside. All right, so again, we will need your orange, your brown, your yellow, and then you'll need the green, the orange, and the bamboo-y looking kind of strip here. All right, so the background will be the orange, and it will be a 12 by 12 piece. And then we will need your brown X here. I have to get out and make sure I remember exactly how it was cut. So we are going to take this piece and cut it down to an 11.5 by 11.5. So go ahead and get your paper cut. I forgot all of my supplies today when I came down this trip for, we're working on shipping right now too, and I'm filming today for the event, and I don't know what I was thinking, and I came down without all of my adhesive and all of that kind of stuff. So I ran real quick this morning and got all of my supplies ready to go. All right, so now we have our brown page cut, 11.5 and 11.5. So go ahead and we're going to put this brown piece down. It will go right into the center of your orange cardstock. I thought the zoo papers are so cute, and I absolutely love like really bright, bold looking colors, and I loved the brown check when I saw this. Looked real outdoorsy. So go ahead and put that into the middle of your orange. Next, we're going to need our solid piece of yellow pattern paper, and we are going to cut the first piece off of here 3/4 of an inch by 12. So go in here 3/4 of an inch, but leave the full 12 inches here. So go ahead and cut that down to 3/4 of an inch by 12 is the yellow pattern paper. And then we will need this again, so set it aside. And then we're going to take this 3/4 by 12 piece of paper, and then we're going to then cut it down to the lengthway to 11.5. So go ahead and cut the extra 1/2 inch off. Okay, so we've got our yellow strip ready, so let's go ahead and get that adhered, and then we'll move on and we will cut our other pieces. This little guy's sort of hard to push here. All right, so when we put this down, what we want to see is a row of the X's here. So go ahead and put that as right up next to the row of the X's. Okay, next we have our green pattern paper that we're going to cut down to 11 inches. So go ahead and take off that inch. And my adhesive, let's put your adhesive on here. And then it will come up just about 1/4 inch from the bottom, and it will overlap the yellow just a little bit. And you can use sort of like to measure it up just a little bit right here to the top. Make sure that you have it going up straight, the length of the yellow. All right, and then we need our orange strip. And you know what, guys? I got out the wrong orange strip. I am so sorry. We need the thicker orange polka dot strip. So I'll give you a second to pull that out. Sorry about that. We need to cut this orange strip down. It needs to be cut to 11.5 inches. So go ahead and cut to 11.5. All right, so then this one now will overlap the green just a fuzz, and we'll go from the top of the brown to the bottom of the brown. So go ahead and adhere that. Okay, And now we are going to go to the green glimmer piece of cardstock. So if you want to grab that, it is going to be, it's already cut for your 1 inch, so we need to take it down to 10.5 inches. This hard part will be over here in just a couple minutes. So 10.5 inches is where we need it. And then go ahead and put on your adhesive, and we will put down the green. And then I put this one, if you can see from the top, it's just about a 1/2 inch from the top of the brown, and a little bit, probably about a 1/4 inch off the bottom. But as I said before, you can put it wherever you want it, but I just wanted these staggered, the strips staggered, to give it a little bit of a fun look. And I adhered it probably between 1/8 and a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch down. So you can go ahead and put that down. All right, and then last, we are going to go back to our yellow, and we are going to cut a 1/2 inch strip. Go ahead, so cut a 1/2 inch off of this first, and then we will cut it down again from there. So go ahead and cut a 1/2 inch. And then again, we need the rest of this. So go ahead and set it aside and reserve that. And so then this pattern paper, we're going to take it down to 11.25. So 11.25. Be just a little piece that we can trim off again. All right, and then adhesive again. All right, and then this will overlap the green again, just a little bit, and probably about just maybe a 1/4 inch or so. If you can see from the top here, just about a 1/4 inch right there, and it overlaps the green just a tiny bit. If that's visible enough there for you. All right. And there you go. Oh my goodness, the strips are done. Yay-hoo. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead now and just cut our photo mats. So you can pull out the brown cardstock. And then we're going to cut our photo mats into 6.25 by 4.25. And we'll need 2 of those. And I usually cut my lengthwise first, so 6.25. And then, and reserve the other piece. And then down to 4.25. And you'll need that twice. So 4.25 by 4.25. Oopsie, I didn't cut that. Cut through. All right, so we have our photo mats cut. And you can just place them on here. I'm just going to place them so it makes it just a little bit easier for the die cuts to be placed. So now we are going to set this aside, our page aside, and we are going to pull out our die cuts. And you'll need the die cut bag with Let's Be Adventures in it. So we can take out our die cuts. And I tell you what, our production team is immaculate at putting these in there. There are tiny pieces, and the plastic likes to pull everything up sometimes. So if you're missing a piece, just look around in there. It's in there. And then there's a little surprise piece that I have put in here that when I was looking for binoculars, if that's a clue for you, that we know how much that Andrea loves a little guy with ears. So I'm sure you'll figure it out here real quick. So pull out your post, and then we'll start putting all of these together. This was a different spread for me. I try to, each time that I design, try to push myself just a little bit. I only started using the design space in Cricut literally a year ago, and so I am absolutely still learning. So sometimes trying to take everything from my head and put it down onto these spreads takes just a little bit of extra work. But I had our head Cricut, her name is Jean, Cricketeer. I called her the one night. These little circle fellas here, I could not figure out how to get them to work, and I was bound and determined that I was going to use these. And none of these little black lines in here were attached to the outside of this black circle. So I don't even remember everything I did now, but I had to like slice and pull circles out there. It was sort of crazy, but I got it done, and by golly, I was so excited and got to use the die cut. All right, so we're going to put all of our circles together. So you can pull those out and set your leaves aside. And I would, all of these loose little pieces, if you can see them right here, so they don't, none of them get ripped. Try to make sure that you get adhesive clear out there on those little tips, because there's a lot of them on here, and I'd hate for them to pull back or tear or anything. So try and get the adhesive as far out on those tips as possible. I'm going to use I have no idea how this glue is going to work here. I've never used it before, so hopefully it comes out in a blob, as what I'm used to at home. I don't think I'll forget again, do you guys? All of my supplies. Okay, try to get clear to the end of these. I'll give you a minute, because these die cuts are a little bit more time consuming, and all the strips. So hopefully you're staying with me here. And if not, don't worry if you ever get behind and don't quite get something, because these are saved in here forever. So you can always go back at another time and catch up if you miss something. All right, so I've got my first piece glued here. You'll have to put there, make sure the circle, let's see here. I should have done that beforehand. There we go. Just to make sure that the whole black covers the whole outside of the orange. All right, I'm going to move on to my yellow. This was a little bit easier. It doesn't have as many of the black stripes to make sure that they don't tear on there. Okay. And one more. I don't know when the last time that I have been to a zoo. My kids have been gone for quite some time now, and I can't wait to look back, because I tell you, I have not scrapbooked any of their zoo pictures, so I'm excited to go back and use these zoo spreads to get my zoo pages done. I think I might have to talk. I have little twins. There are 7 that live next door. They're actually, believe it or not, my cousins, and have to take them maybe on a zoo adventure sometime. All right, so we have the 3 circles put together. Let's go ahead now and work on Let's Be Adventures. So with this, I used all of the orange letters. I have it adhered. I adhered them all to just, let me get this, put this down, just the brown. So go ahead and adhere Adventures to the brown. And then after you do that, I used pop dots because I wanted to bring out the title just a little bit. I guess I just love pop dots. I use them all the time. I think it looks really cool to pop different pieces up off the page to give it added dimension. And this glue is not fun here. Okay, I don't have grandkids either. I shouldn't say that. I have grand animals, but I don't think that they'd probably appreciate a day at the zoo. I've got a rabbit named Goose, and I have fish, my son's fish, but he left those with us when he moved, and I have successfully killed most of them. And he tells me it's not my fault because they were getting older. He caught them all himself, but still, here I am, Grandma Laurie with a bunch of grandfish, and I'm killing them all. And I'm like, well, if he's never gonna let me have, if he ever has kids, he's never gonna let me trust me with his children. Hope you're laughing at that one, because I really did cry every time in the beginning when I was killing all of his fish. We have 4 left now. And then my daughter has 3 cats. So those are my grandbabies. Nobody's gonna want to go to the zoo with me. All right, so I'm to the T. Hope you like these colors that I have chose. I just love bright and bold, and I just thought for the adventure to make it bright and bold. I should have brought a napkin in here to mop up some of this crazy glue that's coming out of this. Yep. All right, we're getting close here. Got the R. Oh my gosh, another blob. I was so excited when I found the Fun Safari hat, which we'll be putting together next. I thought it was so cute. All right, we almost got it here. What a long word to put together, right? Okay, one more. Okay, so we have adventures put together. All right, so we can set that aside for just a second here because we're going to work on the rest of the title and get that down. Now be very careful. Can you see our little tiny apostrophe here? So watch out for him. Sometimes when I have little teeny tiny pieces and I see him and I forgot about him, but just set them up in a clear spot so nothing touches them, because for crazy reason, like they always seem to disappear, right? Okay, so let's put down let's. And I know this is thinner, so, and of course this glue is not going to cooperate with me to give you a little tiny blob in here. And with my arthritis, I can hardly squeeze many glue bottles because they're so hard. I don't know why they have to be that way. Okay, I can't. All right, so you can just follow, if you can see here, the outline. It's pretty equal all the way around the offset. So it'll go right in the middle. Right here. And you'll see it fits right into the loops. All right, now to get your little tiny apostrophe in there. Boy, I wasn't thinking for the cricketers on that one, as tiny as it is. So it'll go right up here in this little loopy. And then my S. That was, again, a lot of glue. If you guys ever have this trouble, I just take, if I get excess, and I just dab it on my finger to get the whole back of the letter covered. All right, and then the S is offset just a little bit right here. All right, and then B. All right. And now we're going to, once you get the B on here, we're going to adhere this whole piece right here to the black. So go ahead and put adhesive on the back of that, and then we're going to adhere the whole title to the black piece, and then we're going to use the pop dots. Do you guys have a favorite pop dot that you use? Like, some of them I think are like, they're not as thick, and so they don't pop it off the page as much as I would like. And some of them are so incredibly sticky then you can't even get them off of your finger. So if you have a favorite pop dot that you like to use and it's got a nice thickness to it and it's not real skinny, let me know. Put in the comments. All right. So go ahead and put the whole title on your black piece. And then you'll want to pull out your pop dots. And we're going to pop dot if you want. You do not have to. You can just put this on flat here on your title. You do not have to pop it up. But I'm going to go by my design. And if you can see here, I've got it popped up off the page. So go ahead and put your pop dots on. I picked out one with all different sizes for class today. These are nice fat ones, and I can't even tell you what they are. I usually try to put them up like at the top of the D, and then that way those little pieces like don't fall down into the title, you know, especially once you put your page cover on, you still see the added dimension and stuff in there. So go ahead and take all your pieces off your sticky, and we'll get our title will be finished. Things are stuck on there too. All right, so go ahead and adhere adventures. All right, and as you can see, that gave me quite a bit of dimension on there. I don't know on the camera if you can see that really well or not, but gave me quite a bit of a dimension. All right, so we're gonna set that aside, and we're gonna pull out our safari hat. Okay, I'll show you here since we're moving on to the safari hat, not the binoculars. When I cut out the binoculars, if you can see there is a cute little Mickey head in the binoculars right here. So I kept him, and you will find him laid out right here. Hopefully he's still there. If not, he'll be somewhere in your bag. We're gonna put him in the safari hat. He's right in there. I couldn't resist to save him and put him in there. Call him the Hidden Mickey. All right, set your pieces aside here. So have any of you actually gone on a fun safari? I have not, unfortunately, but like I said, I think our zoo adventures were always a little bit of a fun adventure, sorry. All right, go ahead, and if you, there's a hole in the back of this. So you want to make sure when you put together your die cut, if you can see through here, you will need not to put your adhesive clear out to the outside. You want it just enough that it just along the very edge of this whole outline right here is where you want to put your adhesive, or it will come out into the outside of your hat. So go ahead and put your top brown layer on. Okay, and this glue is not going to work well for me to do this. All right, so go ahead and put your, I'm going to put some on here. And he'll just fit right in the middle of your back piece of brown. Okay. And next we're going to put this lighter brown piece, and he'll fit right down in here to the bottom. I've even bought for our Florida Crop-tacular event, I even bought a safari hat to wear, and I wore it in, and then our surprise of the animals came in, and I doggone forgot. I took it off so I could take pictures, and then I forgot and never put the safari hat on the rest of the day. but it was cute hanging off my back for a little bit when I came in. All right, so we'll put the other light brown piece on, and then we'll add in the little pieces. And that fits up right into the top curve of the second piece that you've, or the first piece of brown that you put on. And then we'll put on our little orange piece, and make sure it's longer on one side than the other. So make sure that you measure it in there real quick before you put it on, so you put it in the right direction. Again, using my finger to move around the glue. And then the little orange piece will go right here in this little sliver in the middle of the hat. And then our little hidden Mickey. You can put him anywhere that you want on your page, but I thought that he looked really cute right here in the middle of our little, I call it a buckle in the hat, I guess. Right there in the middle is where I put our little hidden Mickey. I had first popped him up so he wasn't flush in there, but I was so afraid that he was gonna fall off because he's so little that it wasn't secure enough in there. So I took the pop dot off and I just put him flush in there. So, all right, our hat is done. My goodness, I gave you a lot of die cuts, right? All right, and then we're gonna put our binoculars together. This was another, if you use a Cricut, I had to contour all of these there was like so many pieces in here. Another Cricut lesson that I learned, besides all the slicing and everything that I did for all of these pieces. Keeps your brain young, right? To keep learning and trying new things. I don't know if that always is true when I walk into one room and can't even remember what I walked in for, right? All right, so go ahead and put that down. And then you'll just have your two little pieces of the top of your binocular. Some of the little pieces up here are going to be half hid underneath our little safari hat anyway, but all right, and then we're going to put together our flower. And I think, guys, I think that'll be it then, and we'll get to start putting all the final die cut pieces down and together. Now, just a little hint, when you're putting together our die cuts, when they have laid out, hopefully, you know, in shipping and all of that, they haven't moved too much. But see this little flower, when you pull it out of the bag, hopefully the yellow will still be intact over the top of the back piece of the flower. When you lift that off to glue it, sort of keep when you flip it over, keep it in the same direction, because all of these petals are different shapes, right? So then when you go to put it back down, you're like, oh crap, that doesn't fit. So just lift it up, flip it over so you can flip it back and put it right down in the direction it's supposed to go. And just a little helpful hint, because I've done that before and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is all different. And it takes me a little bit then to figure out in what direction it's supposed to go in. So little hint for you. All right, so I'm going to pull my page back in. I'm going to set all of my die cuts up a bit so I can pull in my page. Okay. What we're going to put down first is the little post right here, and you'll want to, I changed my mind. Let's backtrack. Okay, well, let's put down a Let's Be Adventurous first, and this will go flush onto the page. I did not pop this off the page. You can if you want, but I put this flush on the page. So go ahead and put your adhesive on that. So we're going to put down the title first. That will help everything else line up on our page. Okay, so now if you can see on the sample page, the top is flush, basically, maybe a little bit higher, right up to the top of the brown. Can you see that? And then about a 1/2 inch in from the right side off the brown pattern paper. Well, I guess not quite as much here, but a 1/2 inch from where the point of the arrow is. So you can go ahead and put that down. And you can be creative. You can put it wherever you want on the page, but I'm going to put it basically sort of where I did when I designed the page. All right, and then we're going to next put the photo mats down. So you can flip those over. I guess they're solid, so it doesn't matter. And put the photo mats down on your page. Okay, and I'm going to put the right side on first. It actually, I had actually put it underneath the point of the N right here, just a tiny bit. If yours is glued clear down, don't worry about it. Just, you can overlap it just a little bit if you want to. Okay, and then it's probably, you'll be able to see just half of the X on your right side. Go ahead and put that one down. And then your left one. And it will overlap the yellow onto the green as well. I'm so short. Sometimes I can't see on top of this desk what I'm doing. Do you guys ever stand when you're scrapbooking? Here I am sticking my old big head in here in the camera. Sometimes I have to stand because like I can't see what I'm doing to make it straight. Okay, so photo mats are down. All right, so now next we're gonna put on our post. So go ahead and put your adhesive on the back. I searched and searched for this post. I wanted, like I said, when you know what you want and trying to get it exactly what you're thinking. All right, now it's sort of hard to see because of everything, all of the different die cuts that's under here in the top of the post, but it starts up about 1 inch, if you can see from the bottom of the brown paper, not the orange. It'd be about 1.25 inches from the orange, but about from the brown up to where the bottom of the post is. You can see in there. It's so hard to tell if you can see or not. It's about an inch. So let me see. So I can tell you exactly. I'm going to lay it out here so you can see. All right. Can everybody see where the bottom is right here? Right there. About 1/2 inch up from the green, if that makes it easier. Oh, my heavenly days. Sometimes when you're on live camera, guys, and it's been a while since you designed this and you can't see the underneath, a silly me, hopefully you can get the top up after the title, because if not, all you have to do is cut and trim that little piece off if it won't go underneath your title. So I'm sorry about that. Like I said, you know, when you designed this so long ago, you're like, oh, whoopsie, should have put the post down like I originally said to. But if you can't get the little corner of your title up, don't worry about it. Just go ahead. You're not going to see it anyway because all of your green leaves are coming out on the top. So if it doesn't fit, just cut that little tiny piece off of the post that's supposed to go underneath your title. Not a big deal. Okay, so then we're going to save the top of the safari hat and everything for the for the last. So I need you to pull out your circles and all of these two pieces of your green leaves. They will be down here at the bottom. Okay, so we need your circles and these 4 leaves. Okay. All right. So first of all, we're going to, if you want to just like quickly sort of lay out just a little bit, how you want it, you can, my stripes are going all different ways, so you can lay those out however you want. I'll sort of do like what I did in the original design here. And then the oranges, I just had the stripes going or whatever to give the whole page a little bit more direction and fun. I just moved the stripes around different directions. And then we are going to pop the yellow off the page. So if you want to go ahead, once you get your circles on there, sort of where you want them, I'm going to pop the yellow circle up off of the page. And again, you can put it flush on the page if you want. You don't need to pop it off. And these are probably some of the fattest pop dots I have seen, actually. All right, and so when I put my first one down, you can put it however down, you know, in whatever order that you, or distance, I guess, that you want down here. But this overlaps the top of your photo just a little bit. So you may want to drop your pop dot down here just a tiny bit if you want a full 4x6 photo here. And then it is mostly on top of the left photo mat, but probably about 1/4 inch is going over into this middle part there. And I am going to move mine down just a fuzz so I can, and then it's flushed down to the orange at the bottom of the page. Okay, so then we're going to leave the oranges in place here, and we're going to move on to the little leaves here. Okay, what I did to make it, you know, more fun, a little more complicated, of course, right? I tucked the bottom leaf underneath the circle here, and then I put this leaf over the top of the circle just to make it a little bit more fun. And then I used a pop dot underneath this part of the leaf to pop it up off of the page. So that's going to be the next leaf, but I want you to just set that down. I want to explain how that was on the page. But next we're going to put on the orange circle. I know this is sort of confusing because it's up and down here, but this orange circle, the left side I have put flush to the page. Okay, the left side here is flush to the page, and the right side I have popped up. So then the last piece, the green leaf, is tucked under the orange and a little pop dot up here on top of the green. So I'm going to go through it piece by piece here with you where we're going to put the adhesive, and then we're just going to tuck it in, but don't press down on it, just so we get all of these different dimensions correct. Hopefully that all makes sense. Okay, so first of all, we're going to pull out put adhesive on your orange, but again, don't put it down. The left hand side is flush to the page. The right, if you want all of this dimension, if you want to just put it down, you can put it down, but this has a pop dot. Okay, so again, the left side of the circle, regular adhesive. Right side, pop dot. Okay, can you see that? Left side adhesive, right side pop dot. All right, so we're just going to lightly just set that down on the page. We're not going to stick it down yet. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to put, I don't really have adhesive on it except for this top part, this little leaf right here, this top leaf. I just put a pop dot right there. Okay. Now we can add more once we get it on, but for now, just put the one pop dot on it, or just a little bit of adhesive right there. Okay. And you can tuck that under and put it up. Second leaf up. All right, and then last but not least, this little fella's gonna go down, and I put a pop dot just randomly on the top part. You can just put a couple of them so that the right side pops up off of the page. All right, so holding it, the right side will need pop dots. So you can randomly just put some pop dots on that side of the leaf. And mine are too thick, so I am gonna cut them in half. Okay. And then they stick to your fingers, right? I'm gonna do one more for right now, and then we'll see if we need to add another one once it's down. Okay. Now I hope you're all still with me here on what we're doing. So go ahead and take your adhesive off of this green leaf that we just put the last bit of adhesive on. Okay. And then he's going to tuck under the orange circle. So now take off your pop dot adhesive and put him down, and pull off your other, if you have any other adhesive, go ahead and pull them all off now, the little pop dots. All right, so place it on your page. If you can see what I'm doing here, I'll lift it up. I've got the bottom leaf tucked under the yellow, and the next leaf goes on top of the orange circle, and then the pop dots right here. This circle, the adhesive is to the left, pop dot to the right. And then this has got the pop dots on the right hand side of the leaves. And then you can just stick it all down once you get it in place where you like it. And it doesn't have to be exact like mine. You can just place your circles and leaves wherever you want on here. And then it just gives all of this down here at the bottom just added dimension. Now let me show you. Can you see that? Can you see it just popping off the page? All different directions there. Hopefully you can see it. It's hard for me to see with the light coming in the window if you can see it really well or not. Okay, and then we're basically going to do the same to the left hand side. Let me see, where did I add I added the pop dot right here in the middle of the leaf, right here in the middle. So you can put a pop dot there. And again, if you don't want to go through any of this and you just want to stick them down to the page, that's perfectly fine. And of course, silly me, you know, has to put him all different directions on here too. All right, so the orange circle, again, the same as the other side. This side will be flush to the page, the right side. The left side, this time, pop dot. So right side flush, left side pop dot. Hindsight heavens, I made this pretty complicated, didn't I? All right, so you just set that in there, and then we'll go to our last green leaf. And you can put pop dots wherever you want on the back of this one. And again, I think my little fellas are sort of fat here. I'm going to have to trim off some of them. I don't know if you guys gets to this point in this crazy glue that I'm trying to use that my fingers get so sticky that everything is sticking. I need me some baby wipes in here, right? They're just sticking. And my old crippled fingers don't help. Okay, hopefully you guys are all with me. I'm so sorry this got sort of complicated here, but I added so many layers and so much dimension to it. Holy cow, whoopsie. All right, so you can go ahead and take your pop dots off this last green leaf. And we will get it. This one does not want to cooperate. All right, so now this one, instead of putting down, I put him sort of up and out, okay? All right, so now we've got the orange, the leaf. Oops. This one is tucked, not the last one, but the second to last leaf is tucked underneath the circle, okay? and then the pop dot will keep it up off of your page. And then just tuck the orange circle in here, and then the last green leaf will just get tucked underneath the orange circle. I have to lay it down to do that, okay? So we have the green up, down, facing up, out that way. And then the orange circle. And then the green. Oh my goodness. See, I told you that little one does not like me. I'm just going to take him off. We don't need him, right? And then just go ahead and stick it down. Okay, now once they're all down, if you want to add extra adhesive, oh, I tell you guys to take the adhesive off and I don't do it. You can add extra adhesive if you don't feel that it is adhered enough somewhere. You can always add extra adhesive on there anywhere that you want. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing and you've got it all down. All right, so now to the last. We've almost got it. We're almost there. You'll have the 3 other leaves, your flower, your binoculars, and your hat, your cute safari hat. Okay, so of course I popped up the safari hat. Now, I have all different layers going on underneath here and pop dots everywhere. So I will tell you what I did, but if you want to be creative and just go for it and put that wherever you want, go for it. But I'll tell you exactly what I did, and then we'll push it all down at the last. But the safari hat is totally, I've got him popped clear off of the page. So the entire safari hat will be all pop dots. So go ahead and stick those on. I have got a mess going on here. All right. All right, so I am just going to set him right up here for just a second, okay? Because we're going to move on to the other pieces and we're going to get the pop dots on where they belong first. Okay, so the binoculars will have a pop dot just in the right-hand corner. So the right-hand corner is the only place that I put adhesive, and he's a pop dot. Okay, and then you can set him down, and then it's the yellow flower, and there is just, I have 1 pop dot, but you can add more if you want after we get him placed underneath the hat. So I just put on 1 pop dot to get him placed, okay? All right, so again, safari hat, all popped up off the page. Binoculars, pop dot on the right-hand side. And then the flower, I just randomly chose a petal, 1 pop dot, okay? Oops. Now, the leaves, you know, you can just play around with this. I just have them random. And then I did not stick them all the way down until after I had everything placed. Now this one I thought was fun. I had him going over the top of the title a little bit, and I have him not even stuck down to the page. Can you see how he's just sort of out there? So he can just be like going over the top of the bottom of the title. So I'm going to go ahead and just put just a tiny little bit of adhesive on the outer leaves here of that piece. We're going to start putting this down. But I would suggest you not like give him a good push down yet until we get everything else placed. Oh heavens. So he goes right over the top, all right? And then you can just place the other two underneath here. And I didn't put adhesive on these. I put it right on this one, so it's just overflowing the title, okay? So this is the only thing that has adhesive. Place these. All right. So now we're just going to bring up the hat. And I have him probably, he's clear to the, if you wanted exact, he's a little bit overlapping the cardstock here on the left-hand side, down just about 1/4 inch from the top and at an angle. And he goes over the title just a little bit. So I'm going to take off all the adhesive of the pop dots for the hat. All right, we got all of those off. And now I'm just going to lightly place him. Do not stick him down yet. Lightly place him here. And then let's do the binoculars next. Adhesive off the pop dot. And he is going to be at an angle coming out this way. And just tuck him under, lift the hat up and tuck him under as far as you want. And you can pull the leaf out as far as you want, depending on how much of the leaf, does that make sense, that you want to be showing, okay? And then the last is the flower. And it will just tuck underneath the hat just a little bit, and you can overlap the binoculars. Just like that. I wish some of you were in front of me and said, okay, any questions? All hands would probably be raised up, right? All right, so once you have everything placed in here exactly where you want it, go ahead and just press everything down. Half will be popped up, half won't be. And then again, if you want to, these leaves should be secure underneath here with the sticky of the pop dots, but if you want to add like some adhesive under here, or pop these off the page, go for it. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. All right, so holy cow, that was a lot, right? All of the different ups and downs and pop dots and down, and hope you love the page. I know it was a lot of dimension that I put in there, but hope you like it as much as I do. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up really quick, and we are going to move on to the right-hand page. We are back for page number 2, and this will be the right side of your spread, which in the page will look like this. And whew, that first page was a doozy, wasn't it? Man, it had been a while since I had designed it, so it's just like, man, when I was putting it together, I had to refresh my brain in there to remember what all I did. So thanks for sticking with me here. So I sort of laid out the second page just a little bit on in between our pages here, so hopefully that'll make this one go a little easier and a little quicker. So all right, so we are going to go through, you will first need, I'll put these in order for you, okay? So the brown stripe paper, and then the green pattern paper, and I'll just push this straight up so you can lay it out yourself, and then we're just going to grab from this pile to make it quicker and easier. And then our brown scallop, our orange, and then our brown stripe, and our green cardstock, that lovely shimmer green. All right, and so you can set aside the brown, which is for the photos. You can set that aside, and we are going to then just work with these two pieces right here for a moment. The orange will be your background, and then this piece, the green pattern paper, we are going to cut this down. It's 12 by 12 now. We are going to cut it down to 11.5 by 11.5. So go ahead and get that cut. All right. Stretches my little arms out here. Shouldn't say little, I should say short. Okay, 11.5 by 11.5. Okay, and then we are going to adhere this, and it will go into the center of the orange. So go ahead and let's get that adhered. I thought this other paper was so cool as well, the back floral. Looks quite safari-ish too, doesn't it? All right. So let's place this in the middle. All right. Now, we are going to go on and we are going to pull out the first brown stripe strip here. And it is cut to size, except for we need to cut it down to 11 1/8. All right, so this piece is 11 1/8. And let us just go ahead and put this one down. So get your adhesive on there. All right, and this piece is going to go flush to the orange right here on the green, flush to the orange, and then it'll just be centered in between on the green. So you'll see just a little green at the top and a little at the bottom. And if it's more one way or the other, no worries. All right, so the next one is our green pattern paper, and we are going to cut that down also to 11 1/8. Wait, let me make sure. Let me just double check this one really fast here. 11, yep. All right, now I put this one flush up to the, oops, I didn't get that quite short enough. Silly me. I can't see clear up there, guys. It's what happens when you get old. There we go. All right, so go ahead and get your adhesive on this one. And then this one is going to go basically about flush, barely overlapping the brown, right up to the very top of the green pattern paper, the other green pattern paper. All right, and then we're going to go with the brown scalloped strip. I got some adhesive on my page here. All right, so go ahead and get adhesive on your brown scallop. And that does not need to be cut. So we're going to adhere the whole entire piece. And what I really liked about this piece, when you look at it, you can't really see it just by just looking at the page, but when you look at the picture here, can you see how the scalloped really makes it look like even more like the bamboo-y kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but you can see from the scallop how fun it makes the green like look stacked up, sort of. All right. So when you get that all done, you'll be able to see that. Okay, so let's go ahead and the scallop, where the scallop starts here, that is about where I overlapped onto the green. So you could have all of the green scallop on there. And it is flush to the bottom of the page, so make sure that the scallop is into the green. Oops. And if that is confusing, here I'll show you in just a second what I mean. Okay, so what I mean is, if you're in question, right here's where the strip starts, and right here's where the scallop. So you want to make sure that this part of the scallop right here is completely covering the green pattern paper. Okay, and next we have the orange strip, and we are going to cut that down to 11 1/4. Okay, so after you get your orange strip cut, set it aside for just a minute, because we are going to cut then a strip of the yellow. And the yellow pattern paper here, we need to cut a piece down to 1/2 by 12. So let's go ahead and do a 1/2 inch. All right, so you have your 1/2 inch strip. Once you have your yellow strip cut, we need to cut that down to 11 1/2. And now we are going to put the yellow strip on, and it will go flush up to the brown scallop. Okay, so let's get that one on. Okay, and of course, you run out of adhesive, right? I didn't know how far these little things would go. All right. At least I don't have to redo the whole big one, right? All right, flush up to the brown scallop. All right, now you can put adhesive on your orange strip, and then we're going to adhere that. Oops. In between the yellow and the brown. So you'll overlap about evenly. You can put it however you want, but my original is about, if you can see, in between the brown and the yellow. So go ahead and adhere. Okay, whoo! Those strips are challenging. Why I thought it was a great idea to like cut them all different lengths and stack them all different ways, I have no idea, but it looked really cool, I thought. So anyway, okay, we're going to move on now. The strips are done, and we are going to go next with our brown stripe here. And let me see, we are going to cut, give me 1 second here. I need to make sure that I'm telling you correctly. So we need to cut this down to, it's already 3 1/4, so we need to take this piece down to 9 inches. So let us take this to 9 inches. All right, so we've got our brown piece cut. We're not going to adhere it yet. Let's go ahead and just get these other couple pieces cut. So next you will need the yellow pattern paper. And the yellow, we need a 2.5 inch by 12 cut. So 2.5 by 12. All right, so we've got our 2.5 by 12, and I lost. Okay, so we've got 2.5 by 12, and now we need to take this down to 8 5/8. So go ahead and get that cut. Now we have the green shimmer cardstock, and we are going to cut that down to 9 5/8. So go ahead and get that cut. All right. And this next step is now complete. I need a little bit more for that one again. Can't see. All right. Okay. So now we've got all of these 3 pieces cut. So let us put that aside. And I'm just going to say, whew, this was a very, very quite detailed class. And in between, you know, this is live. I am throwing, which you won't see, I hope, because it will be edited, put it that way. I have thrown my instruction sheets all over the floor twice. So many measurements, you know, I had to make sure that they were exact. I'm picking up the papers. I'm falling off the chair. Maybe we'll have bloopers that you all can see what happened to me. So anyway, let's move on. All right, so next, brown half circle and tan. We're going to put our adhesive on the back, and we're going to apply to the brown half circle. Okay, it will basically fit in the middle of the brown, so you have a shadow of the darker brown all the way around on the outside. Okay, and then we're going to adhere this half circle. We get our adhesive on here. And it will be down from the top just a tad, about the same in between the top and the bottom. So you'll see a tiny bit of green up at the top and a tiny bit of green down at the bottom. Go ahead and adhere. All right, and next we're going to put on, put together these 3 pieces right here. And so the yellow piece will be flush here on to the back of the brown. So go ahead and put that adhesive on there. And we will get that applied to the stripe piece. And it will just be centered, except for the right side will be clear to the flush of the back end, or the back right side of the piece of paper, right there, flush to the bottom. All right. All right, so now I am going to just set this up. We have that much put together, and we are going to push that up, and let's put together our die cut pieces. And then we'll get our photo mats cut. Put our die cuts down, and we'll be cruising. I also dropped my glue. I got to pick up my glue. I apparently need more room on my desk. I don't know. All right, our chevron circle, or oh my goodness, our arrows here. We're gonna need it all, so you can just very carefully take everything out and be careful of all the little pieces from the roar piece here, because mine have jumped around in the bag because of the static electricity that happens in there. I come from a little tiny town in Ohio. It's called Liberty Center, and we are the Liberty Center Tigers. So I loved using the face of this tiger. Okay. Couple more pieces here. We'll be ready to put them together. Okay, let us go ahead and put this piece together. R-A-W-R. Okay. Maybe I'm going to try and shake up this glue and see if it is so thick and heavy. As I said in the first video, I forgot all of my adhesive at home, and I went out and bought this, and it is really thick and heavy, and I can't get the little teeny tiny bit that I need on these little teeny tiny pieces. Are you guys excited for summer to be coming? It's almost here. I am not a heat person. I do not enjoy the summer, so I'm going to miss the cool days that we have had. I don't get too many people that agree with me, but I love the cooler temperatures outside. Probably why I don't go to the zoo very often, because it's sort of hot, because that's when the animals are out, right? Okay. Almost got him here. And this will help once we get this on for placement of the other piece. Exclamation point. This is oops, I got my little eye in here. All right, I've got 2 more pieces. All right. Hopefully you guys are right along here with me. I'm just going to set that up on the page, and while the rest of the die cuts are out, I'm going to just go ahead and put the flower and the tiger together. And just make sure the flower, there we go. As I said earlier, some of the die cuts, like flowers and stuff like that, when you pull it up off, once you get the glue and everything on, make sure you know exactly where it's going to go, because, you know, some of the leaves are different if you place them in different, like not all flowers, like this one's okay, but like some have all different loops and sizes, and so just make sure when you pick it off of there, before you glue it, that when you have the correct placement when you put it back down. All right. Okay, got the flower together. All right, and last but not least is our cute little tiger here. So we can put him together. The black is the background, and then the white piece. The first tiger that I tried to cut out, I just loved him. I can't even tell you how long that I spent trying to get this tiger to cut. It was, I don't know, it was so cool. And at the time, I didn't see this one, only that one. That was the one I had to use, right? And I caught and caught and caught, and I'm like, all right, it's not going to work. The die cutters are going to kill me if I try to use this. I could never get it to cut right. So, and then luckily I found this one, which was even cooler than the first one. Okay. All right, and now we have just the last piece, which is the orange, and we will be done putting together our die cuts. Okay. All right, so you can set him to the side. We're gonna pull back down our page and we're actually going to put the roar down first, and then that'll give you a better eyeballing where we'll put the next pieces. And I did pop dot this up off the page, so if you want to use pop dots, I did, but you can go ahead and put it directly on the page if you would prefer to do that. But I love pop dots, so I'm going to pop him off the page, or pop roar off the page. All right. Almost here. Okay, now, excuse me, I'm getting a little froggy here. Placement is about the corner of the circle here. I come off. If you come off the bottom of the page, there's just a little bit of green showing down here at the bottom, if you can see that. And then it's probably about 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches into 3/4 from the left-hand side of the page. And just about when it comes out here to the circle, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch over here. So around in that general area. So go ahead and put that down. Doesn't have to be exact. Anywhere in there is fine. Okay, so now we're going to take the brown and yellow that we already have put together, and we're going to have put adhesive on the back of that. And now this will go basically flush up to the top of the roar, or you can go by the circles here if you want to. There's 4 full and then a little bit of the 5th one showing, like a little half circle. Okay, and now last we're going to put on the green glimmer cardstock. And then that will also go flush clear to the right of the yellow, and it'll go clear to the end of your orange cardstock there. So there you go. We've got the base basically done here. And now let us go ahead and we're going to cut our photo frames out, our photo mats, I mean. So we need a 3x5, and then we need 3 2.5 by 3. Now I'm going to go with what I did on the original spread here, but if you have other size pictures that you would like to use, you do not need to cut out your photo mats yet. You can wait until you have pictures, but I'm going to go ahead and cut the exact ones that I have here on the design. So the first one is 3x5. So, okay, before you cut that, it would be 3¼ by 5¼ Sorry about that. So 5¼ by 3¼ paper slipped. There we go. All right, so then the other ones, they will then be cut to 3¼ by 2¾ So again, 3¼ by 2¾ I'm telling you, there is too much sitting here. I am just knocking everything over. All right, 3¼ by 2¾ and we need 3 of those. 1, so 3. All right, I'm gonna have enough room on that one. So 3¼ How you coming along? You about got them cut there? 2¾ Okay, and one more for me. Okay. All righty. Now, how you doing? Are you guys, you doing good? Are we caught up here before we move on? All right. And this one, I still have a little slippage on mine. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put the photo mats down on the page, because the top yellow circle will overlap this photo mat just a little bit. So when you're adhering, when we come to adhere this, I'll remind you, we're not going to put adhesive here on the yellow, the top of the yellow circle. So that's why we're adhering our photo mats first, because the arrow will also go over the top of this photo mat right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply your photo mats. And the 3x5 is just right up here in the corner, about a 1/4 inch down from the top and a 1/4 inch in from the side. Excuse me. All right, we'll go ahead and put adhesive on the back of all of our smaller photo mats. And then we'll place all 3 of them together at the same time, so we have them where they all need to be. All right, the first one, if you can, there's 5 full circles, and it goes right underneath the 5th full circle. And I'm not going to push down on them until I have all of them placed exactly where I want them. So I'm just going to lay it right there. And then the second one, there'll be just a little space in between the first photo mat and the second one. All right, and then the last photo mat, there will be the same, just a little bit. It'll be about right at the top of the yellow printed paper. Okay, and then you can put them down. You like where they're at. And again, if you have pictures that that don't fit these, you can put a photo frames however you want them later. All right, so next we are going to put on the circle. And again, the top part, do not put adhesive up there, because we want to be able to put the picture on underneath here. So you can go ahead and get your adhesive on that, on your circle. All right, almost got her here. All right, now placement. It is just a little bit, like I said, on the photo mat, the 3x5 photo mat, and it sits over about a 1/2 inch from the second photo mat. So you can go ahead and put that down. And if by chance, sometime, if you ever, when you're putting a project together and you're like, oh no, I put adhesive there, you can always wipe it dry and then put baby powder on it, and it will become unsticky. Something I had to learn, because I did that quite a few times by accident. All right, so next we are going to let us lay out our leaves here. Same thing we sort of did for the other side. I did pop dot the tiger head up off the page, and I tucked these pieces underneath. I didn't pop dot them up, but just put just a little bit of adhesive down here at the bottom of the stem and down here at the bottom of the stem. But don't put them down yet. Just get a little adhesive on there. All right, set those aside for a second, and now go ahead and put your pop dots on the back of the lion head. And again, if you prefer not to, that's okay. You can just put it flush once we get it down. All right, I'm going to take off the back of this adhesive, and then we're going to place, but do not press him down yet until we get our exact placement with everything tucked underneath him. I thought this was really cool when I was doing it, and had all these little tucks and pop dots, and I didn't quite think it through trying to teach a class with all of these little tricks that I put in there, and so hopefully I'm explaining it all okay for you on how to get this all done. All right, so we're basically gonna center the tiger in the circle. Again, don't put him down, and go ahead and put your adhesive on your little flower here as well. Okay, so we're gonna put the leaves under the tiger first, and you can just place them however you want. It doesn't, there's no rhyme or reason. I didn't really put it over the green except for a little bit of this. We'll just lift him up when we go to put our arrow on, but tuck him under however you would like. And then just stick your little flower underneath there. I think that looks good, so I'm just going to press him right down. And now remember, you won't have adhesive on there, so we'll just lift him right up when we put on our arrow. All right, so go ahead. We just have our arrows left to do. And let's just place them on our green cardstock. I think it's better to place and then glue because we want them sort of evenly spaced, because we're going to put this arrow then over the top of them. And then these two right here, I actually use pop dots. So we're going to put those two down first. But we want to make sure as much as possible that we have like a straight arrow going straight across here. All right, so we can take these two right here to the right of the page and put pop dots on those. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and just take that off and get those placed. Okay. Now this one will overlap your frame just a little bit. And until you get it placed, you don't need to press it down. Okay, like that. That one looks good. All right, I'm not going to fully press those down yet. You can if you want to, but okay, as you can see here, I am going to pop dot this black arrow up over the top, but I like my placement of the arrows here. You can put it however you want. You can place these however. I just left a little bit of about 1/4 of an inch or so in between each of the arrows. And then I had the front part of the arrow going over the top of this one, if that makes sense right there. All right. So I'm just going to take one off at a time so I can keep my placement. And these will go directly on your page. So I used dry adhesive on it. I didn't use pop dots. Okay. And go ahead and get all 4 of those arrows put on. Okay, 2 more. And 1 more. All right. Okay, we're still good with the arrow. All right, so the black arrow is the last thing, right? Woohoo! Okay, so we're going to use pop dots. Might be a little bit trickier here with the little skinny part of the arrow, but I'm going to try and cut mine skinny enough that it works. We'll see if I can pull this off here. I did on my original, but I had different pop dots. Oh yeah, we can cut this nice and thin here. Just make a tiny little thin strip to put on there and you'll be good. Or you don't have to go to all this work. You can just put it right down if you want to. Right flat on the page. One more here. Okay. So I said earlier, by the end of the class here, my fingers are just sticky little, sticky. Okay, 1 more, and we are going to put the arrow down, and we will have another class complete. I wish I had all these pages done at home, but they're all sitting in my little shelf waiting to be done. Right, and then we're just gonna place the arrow right here in between the middle of all the arrows here in a straight line, and we are done. Yay! Great job, everyone. And whew, thanks for sticking with me on this one. This was, I think some of it was pretty tough. So great job in getting it all finished and sticking it out with me, falling off the chair and all of that good stuff. So let us put the other half here. And this is what your spread will look like, all done and complete. I hope you love it, and thank you so much for joining me today for this class, and enjoy the rest of the Crop-tacular. Okay, and the last will be our green. Instructions
think we need to check.
What happened?
Sounded like we had an earthquake in here.
Instructions go flying twice. I can't find it. They're lodged up over here along the wall with the white. Look all over the floor.
What happened?
Please tell me you're still recording.
Oh, I am. It's all recorded. So then they fell out the first time, no problem. I bent over and picked them up just fine. So I get him back up here and I'm like, okay, let's go to the next one. They do. They flew. So they're flat on the floor.
In the chair.
And the chair. And